Welcome back to Sunday Agenda. I'm Lidia Curanaj. A treasonous coup, sedition, conspiracy, subverting the will of the American people. These are just some of the words used by the Department of National Intelligence Chief Tulsi Gabbard to describe the alleged actions of former President Barack Obama, intelligence officials, and Hillary Clinton, to name a few, after declassifying a trove of documents regarding the alleged plot to destroy Donald Trump with a Russia hoax. And here's what President Trump says he thinks could happen if Obama were ever, if possible, to be held accountable.
How do you think that the Supreme Court's ruling that benefited you on presidential immunity would apply to former President Barack Obama and what you're accusing him of doing?
It probably helps him a lot. Probably helps him a lot, the immunity ruling. But it doesn't help the people around him at all. But it probably helps him a lot. Well, he's done criminal acts, there's no question about it. But he has immunity, and it probably helps him a lot.
This week, Gabbard posted a new 46-page document to X in which she says further shows that the Obama administration manufactured the 2017 intelligence assessment, which promoted the lie that Putin helped Trump win the 2016 election against Hillary. The Department of Justice has also now officially received a referral for criminal charges, who will then ultimately decide who gets charged and for what, revealing, though, that no one is above the law, not even a former president of the United States.
Do you believe that any of this new information implicates former President Obama in criminal behavior?
We have referred and will continue to refer all of these documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate the criminal implications of this.
For even former President Obama?
Correct. The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment.
Manufactured intelligence. Gabbard says more evidence of a conspiracy is forthcoming and that whistleblowers are also coming forward. Yet here we are, years later, and finally, the truth is coming out. So why did it take so long? Well, the answer, it's a simple one. The media. As Gabbard detailed her findings this week, CNN had the audacity to censor her. Watch this.
Multiple intelligence community assessments released in the months leading up to the November 2016 election concluded that Russia had neither the intent nor capability to impact the outcome of the U.S. election. On December 5th...
We've been listening there to the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, continuing on what has now been a multi-day effort, not only with public statements like this, but release of documents, to attempt to back up the quite extreme allegation that President Obama is guilty of treason.
Attempt, quite extreme. You see how they're trying to kind of walk back what she's saying? And then take a look at this headline from NBC News. Gabbard and White House lying. But then when you actually read the article, there's a line in there. Susan Miller, a retired CIA officer who helped lead the team that produced the report about Russia's actions during the 2016 campaign, told NBC News it was based on credible information that showed Moscow sought to help Trump win the election, but that there was no sign of a conspiracy between the Kremlin and the Trump campaign. Okay, let me repeat that last line again, and that should have been the headline of that article. But there was no sign of conspiracy between the Kremlin and the Trump campaign. So doesn't that prove Gabbard's point? That the intelligence told them that Trump was not colluding. He was not working with Putin. But Obama and intelligence officials, they went ahead. They went ahead with the Russia hoax, the collusion, the narrative. That's how it became a hoax, right? Because they kept going with it. Many media outlets, then they became the propaganda machine for the Democrat Party. And it continues to this very day. According to the Media Research Center, from 2017 to 2019, ABC, CBS, and NBC dedicated over 2,000 minutes of evening news coverage on the Trump-Russia collusion story, of course, slamming Trump. And reminder, that's not including the cable news outlets, which clearly had just one angle to the story, and it basically aired nonstop on a loop.
Russia hacking the election to elect Trump is the end of our democracy. Votes were definitely affected. Russia hacked the election to tilt it to Mr. Trump.
Russia did interfere with our election.
The Russians definitively hacked the election.
If you can get them to accept that Russia hacked the election, see if you can get them to accept who won the Civil War.
Well, Russia has definitely been interfering with the election.
I think that there's pretty much agreement on all sides that Russia definitely tried to influence the election in some way.
Yet when it came to the Biden auto pen scandal, ABC, CBS, PBS, they didn't cover it at all. And NBC spent, I think, like 34 seconds on it. I mean, folks, this is how indoctrination and brainwashing happens. A misinformation campaign bought hook, line, and sinker by Democrat activists masquerading as journalists. And then Obama, Brennan, Comey, and of course Hillary spun that same lie over and over again every single chance they got.
There is no denying that the Russians interfered in the election. Right. Whether or not they had willing or unwitting help from the Trump team, they interfered. And they did so to help him and hurt me.
There should be no fuzz on this whatsoever. The Russians interfered in our election during the 2016 cycle.
But was there intelligence that said that the Trump campaign was colluding with Moscow during their campaign?
There was intelligence that the Russian intelligence services were actively involved in this effort, and having been involved in many counterintelligence cases in the past, I know what the Russians try to do.
I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows.
We also know what you're about, Hillary, now. Perhaps, you know, they were taking a cue maybe from Seinfeld's George Costanza, right? Who notably said, it's not a lie if you believe it. But I like to take a cue from Winston Churchill instead, who famously said, truth is incontrovertible. Panic may resent it. Ignorance may deride it. Malice may distort it. But there it is. Exposing the Russia hoax is ultimately about exposing the truth once and for all. It's about preserving our democratic republic and finally holding the elite, the powerful, accountable, and reminding Americans why Lady Justice has a blindfold on. She has it on for a reason. Right at this moment, we are all watching history taking place, vindication taking place, and our validation of our worst fears taking place, right? That the deep state is alive, but hopefully not well for much longer.